G'day viewers, my name's Graeme Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do. Well, hi folks, and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. We're actually in a little town called Thirlmere in New South Wales, and I'm with a very talented lady, Els Dirickx.
Hello, Graeme.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Els has an unusual style, and it's a combination of a lot of things. It actually came about because of her two grandsons and watching what they were doing a while back. Little guys called Ari and Kai. And you noticed when they're actually painting that there was a lot of different shapes that you were seeing in the process of them doing what they were doing, like in bits of wood and stone and old rusted cars.
Yes.
And Els came up with an idea for literally an art form on its own. What do you call it?
I call it reverse art.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Only because it's I start with a canvas that's created for me by nature.
Yeah.
Or in that case, it was the children.
Yep.
And I just add detail which I see in that original canvas.
But the beauty about it is that Els sees images, images that we would not notice every day, whether it be squiggles on a tree or rust in a car or bits of old bark, and she suddenly sees other forms in them and then obviously creates paintings around that, and they're really quite fascinating. You sort of go from the process of taking the photograph and then manipulating it on Photoshop.
Yes, that's right.
And then getting it printed, and from after that hand embellishing it so that it actually becomes an original piece of art that started from a rusty old car, for example.
That's right.
Which is fascinating.
It was actually a burnt out car too that I photographed first up, not knowing that all this was eventuating. And when you looked at the photographs of the burnt texture, it was just amazing, the landscapes that were in the texture. Some of them looked a bit like Aboriginal art.
Yeah.
But by adding some detail, like in the bushfire one, add the black trees and the fence, or in the one behind us, we add the cockatoos and there's some trees and some water, and Cockatoos Crossing came about.
And actually that's the one that we're going to be working on today. It's obviously hanging behind us, but you've already manipulated this to a stage where you've done your Photoshop.
Yes.
But we're going to go through the process on how Els puts all this together, taking some photos just in the area that she lives in, which is just beautiful. And then we'll go through the process in Photoshop on how she puts it all together. And then, this one hasn't been hand embellished yet, but we are going to work on that today to show you guys how the finished product comes about. So it's going to be a really exciting day. Very really different too. It's quite fascinating. So let's get all this wrapped up and we'll start to take some photographs and eventually get to this one. Okay, Els, well, I can see that you've got an extensive collection of stuff. You're definitely somebody that lives on a property because you don't throw anything away, do you?
We don't throw anything away.
But this is where you get a lot of your inspiration, either in the bush or obviously with all of this rusty metallic. I think it's fantastic because there's stories everywhere, isn't there?
I love it as well, and it's just a photographic paradise.
Yeah, it's a cornucopia, as they would say, of stuff.
For those who can appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, but you've spotted this before.
Yes.
You reckon there's a picture in there too?
Oh yes, there's a lovely picture in there of the canola fields.
Okay.
And then the gum leaf in there, that looks like, can you see the gum leaf?
Yeah.
It all looks like a dry riverbed. So I'm going to make something out of that.
You wander around the old rusty cars. You've got plenty of them here anyway.
Yeah.
And then the bush, and then you just combine all of this together, take your shots, And then from there you go back into and use modern technology.
That's right. Use Photoshop on my computer
to be able to put it all together.
Just put it all together. Add the detail to those photographs to make that rusty drum an artwork.
It's fantastic.
Same with that rusty bin there. See the top layer on the band?
Yeah.
They all look like reflections in the water of boats. And so I've photographed that in different stages, or a long stage, and there's wonderful artwork.
And it was really your grandsons, when they were very much younger, Ari and Kai, that were out here sort of rummaging around with their paints and painting on old boards, that you suddenly saw all these patterns start to come through.
That's right, that's right. The painting on the rough timber, which was just lying around on a pile of stumps, it just had amazing texture from the saw cuts. And then when they put their paint on that, the lovely sun and the water and them dabbing their paints and all that sort of stuff just looks wonderful. So I had to photograph it because I just got a new camera. And
it's fantastic.
And then I looked at the photographs and I saw these wonderful images in it. And it was just totally amazing what I could see in their artwork.
Beautiful place as well.
And
there's pictures everywhere.
There's pictures everywhere.
There really is.
Yep.
Okay, Els, well, we've seen what you do out here. It's fascinating, but what we're going to do now is go back into your studio and get onto Photoshop and see how you manipulate all of this till we get to the end product.
Sounds good to me.
Let's go and have a look. Okay, Els, well, we've been outside and we've seen how you take your photos and how you set everything up, but what else is actually done for the show today is she's gone through, and she's going to take us through the process from sort of the reverse way around, and this is almost the finished product. She's actually taken the shot that she needed for the background and then photoshopped these other bits and pieces in there, and this one's actually called Cockatoo Crossing A. There you go.
That's right, because it's a square.
Oh, okay, there you go, okay. So from there, I mean, obviously you can see that she's put in these little bits and pieces with the Photoshop, but when you look at it on the screen, you've taken a photo of an old rusted car.
A burnt out car,
Burnt out car.
Yeah.
And that actually, that's the wheel hub. This is upside down and turned the other way, would that be correct?
Yeah, just twisted around.
Yeah.
So, because what I've done is I've basically gone layer rotation vertical.
Yeah, there you go.
And now I've imaged that the other way, image rotation horizontally.
There you go.
And now I've cropped it, and I've cropped it in a square.
There you go.
And I've moved that down there like that. And I've gone, okay. So I've now cropped the image into the square that I wanted, and now I'm going to start painting. So first of all, I make a new layer, only because I don't want to lose what I'm doing, and I'll just call it tree.
Okay.
Tree. So I now find a paint colour that's going to suit my trees, and it might be, oh no, I want the darker colour.
Okay.
That colour. And paintbrush. And that colour was okay because that came straight out of the painting. I'll just hone in a bit, find a smaller brush, and I just start drawing my tree.
You're just doing it with the mouse?
I'm just drawing with my mouse.
Yeah.
And then I just make a tree out of it. So what I need to do now is go back into there, and I might just make it a bit lighter.
Yeah.
And back here on the brush, maybe a slightly different size brush, and I just add a bit different colour in it, because that's what's in nature. And then I'll go through that process to create the tree, and I just build it up. And no different to any other artist building up a tree, you know, like that. But they're all colours that are coming out of the artwork. So that beige, that sort of other fawny colour.
Yeah. And you're sort of matching those a little closely to the colours that are in there in the first place.
Well, yeah. Maybe change the opacity a bit, so it just makes it a bit more fluent, and slightly lighter again. Okay, so now I'm going to put the sun in, and I'm going to get some yellow. So I've got to find some yellow, and I've got to find the right colour yellow, and I will put the opacity
pretty solid.
Down a bit, yeah, maybe solid, and I'll rub it out later.
Okay.
And that's going to be a nice yellow bright spot taken out of the colour of the material itself, but I want to emphasise the yellow insert a little bit more, so I'll just double click that, maybe just a bit bigger.
Ah, yeah, I see what you're doing.
Just to make that centre a little bit glowy. And now I want to bring in some trees, so what I need to do now is rub out to bring the background forward.
Yeah.
And we've a bit smaller again, and we'll probably just make sort of a branch come through.
There you go, look at that.
Like that, and maybe another one. And they will sort of slowly blend into the tree that I'll build down here.
That's fascinating.
Okay, but it might still be a bit bright, so I might just need to soften that moon up a bit more. I can make that quite big.
Ah, there you go.
And then I want to make the glow a little bit bigger, glow through the trees a little bit more, larger circle. So I go size, I might make that probably about that big, and the opacity perhaps down there.
But you're just sort of trying to really create that glow in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it becomes more subtle. Now I've got to bring the sun back up, which I'll just do again by bringing the yellow back in under different shades.
Okay, Els, that's fantastic what you've just done there, and we can actually see how you put all of this together and get where you need to go. I mean, I love the effect of the rust. I think it's fantastic. But because you're so well organised, you've actually had this one printed.
Yes.
And you've actually brought it in, so all of your Photoshop work's been done. Now, what Els does is she takes her acrylic paints and she actually starts to work on all of these different areas and then creates this really fantastic impasto on top of what you've already done on the canvas here. So it's a fantastic effect, it really is. So, but let's have a look at the acrylic paints and let's see how you build this thing up from there.
Yes, that's really the next step, and that's what gives it the 3 dimensions.
All right, Els, well, you've put up your reproduction.
Yes.
And now you're going to start to hand embellish the picture, and I think this is a fantastic shot anyway. The colours in it are beautiful. So you're just really building on what you'd already done in the first place.
Building on what I'm already doing. Just keep on making thicker paint.
Yep, come down. But it's got such a subtle effect in it, doesn't it?
It has got a very subtle effect.
A lot of what you do, Els, is imagination. I mean, just looking at the rusted cars and the old trees and the bark and pictures like what time does the game start, and you've literally got this squiggly gum tree and then obviously an old fella looking at a bus stop sign.
That was amazing. Just seeing an image of a man on a tree and he had his little dog. It just was the perfect image for a subject matter.
There's another one that I think is just amazing too. It's called Make Hay While the Sun Shines, and it's actually of your car door on the Triton. And it really does look like you've got the wheat field in there with the hoe going through it, and then the background. That's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
And there's one more that I'd like to talk about, which is the side of an old kitchen sink, and it's the chrome and the metal that actually casts the light. And what you've done is you've put the sun in, and then put the other folks in there on the sand. But that's just the side of an old metal tin, really.
I could see nothing but a shimmer of a water scene, absolutely calm water scene.
Yeah.
So again, the red sun, I just love the bright colours, the red sun and the black detail on that stainless steel surface.
You've had an interior design background. Do you feel that your interior design background has actually helped you put art, design and imagination together?
Oh, absolutely, because when you're designing interiors, you're obviously designing an environment for everybody to enjoy, and you need to be able to design that in a 3-dimensional form. So colour and texture and all that all comes into play. And I find that now with my artwork, I'm finding that all that life's experience is now coming out in my artwork, coming together in a lovely package which now only enhances my interior design career, because I can now I've not only designed houses for people and my clients, but now those clients are putting my artwork in their houses.
It's great, isn't it? It's
wonderful.
It's gone a full circle.
It's gone a full circle.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful background.
And the funny part about it is that you do markets, you exhibit in galleries, and you do the markets as well, but you've got a really good following in the markets for what you do. Absolutely.
The clientele are just gobsmacked. You explain what the whole thing's about, and they just blown out of the water.
Yeah.
And the comments, wow, your imagination is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean the fact that
this is all so unique and so original.
Yeah, you're seeing things that they just don't see.
Yeah, that's right. Now with the painting of the darker trees, it's actually bringing out the three-dimensional depth and trying to create the forest a little bit more. And once the birds are painted in there, you're really going to see that depth throughout the whole painting.
It's very subtle, it's wonderful. But you can see that the forest is in there now, and the colours that are coming in from the other side, the lighter colours, give it a depth of field then.
Yeah, so now by darkening this one up, I'm balancing the composition. So now by bringing this tree into the story, it gives a little bit of balance to the composition and highlights the forest even further, and also gives the sun a little bit of positioning within the composition. I'm now going to work on the log to try and make that a little bit more blending with the rest of the artwork, because at the moment it's just a bit too black, too burnt. Just to make all that tree a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, you're just sort of getting rid of that real harsh black.
And now by trying to get rid of all this black here and maybe giving a bit more of a detail. The beauty about these dead trees are they've got so many different shapes and textures and colours that you basically, doesn't matter really what you draw.
Yeah.
They tend to look really pretty realistic. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the birds, and we're going to bring those out using some good dollops of white paint so that we can really get that texture going.
Just sort of spring out of there, birds hurtling to the sky. Oh, that is a dollop.
That's a good dollop.
Yep.
And then afterwards, I guess we detail maybe a few beaks in there or whatever it needs to be added to make them look like birds. And it just gives you an idea of what I need to do to create that perspective. So here's some big ones coming in towards the water, so that I can add some more detail to those birds later on, just to detail them even further.
As you can see with just those ones that you've done, there's a real, the perspective in the picture pops a little bit more too.
It pops out more, yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so now I've got my orange and I'm going to roll the brush to create those really lovely textures of the orange.
Oh, it's lovely and rich, isn't it?
To bring up that richness and that, just that real intensity in the autumn colour. And it just works out beautifully with all the background that's created for me by the burnt car.
But you can see that really starting to pop out now, can't you? It's fantastic.
We'll just work around the sun a little bit more, just to give that 3 dimensions to the sun. How's that?
It really pops out now, doesn't it?
It's really beginning to pop out now. We might just Bring some more in here, just to try and get the balance across this canvas.
Lovely.
So that it's all really now getting that lovely depth of colour. Maybe a bit more dark. So that's
pretty good, isn't it?
That's pretty good, isn't it? I just need to darken that up a bit. And I think we're starting to get a bit more perspective now.
Well, Els, this is quite amazing to see what you've done from taking a photo of a burnt car, turning it around and seeing what was there in the first place, using your imagination, and now hand embellishing or painting the whole image just to really bring it out. I mean, it just looks fantastic. It's amazing.
It does look good, and I'm really thrilled the way it's turned out. And to get that three-dimensionality in the drawing, it's certainly something very unique.
It's really, really well done. Congratulations.
And a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge,
you can see.
huge amount of fun.
I mean, you've combined all of these amazing abilities together to come to this fantastic place where you've got this just beautiful image that is so subtle, but the colours in it are just gorgeous. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well done.
No, I'm pretty happy with that too.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you so much.
Okay guys, another fantastic day. Photography, digital media and art all joined together into the one idea of fantastic imagination. Els?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And you can see it all on my website as well.
Absolutely. Give us your website address.
arikireverseart.com.au.
Okay, don't forget that. It was on the bottom of the screen. But it was a fascinating journey to see what you did today.
Yes,
It
thank
really
you very
was quite
much.
extraordinary.
And it was really, really very lovely to have you here.
Thank you. We
And
really,
to film all this.
yeah, we really enjoyed it.
It's so unique, so much fun. I want everybody to enjoy it.
Cool. Well, it's amazing how it's all come about from two little guys.
That's right.
That you obviously,
Ari and Kai,
yeah,
whose names are joined together to become, and then reverse art because it's working backwards.
Yeah, but there's so many different things, and the fact that Els can see so many images that most people weren't able to see under any circumstances, and then come up with some really beautiful pieces. I mean, what she's created is quite extraordinary. Once again, obviously you can always come into colourneyourlife.com.au and see what we're doing in there as well, and come to our Facebook page. We've got tons of people in there these days, and our YouTube page. You'll be able to see Els on YouTube as well. We've got 64 countries watching the show these days, which is pretty amazing, so come in there and have a look. We're going to head off again. Fantastic work.
Thank you so much. Thank you both very much for coming.
Really is beautiful.
Really, really
we had a great day.
Thank you.
As I always say, remember guys, make sure you put some colour in your life, and we'll see you next time. Bye now. See you later guys. Bye.
Bye.